Now we have here what are either two twins or two women who are going to kill each other for wearing the exact same thing to the same function. Which is it here, ladies?
Actually, we are psychic twins.
Psychic twins.
And we are also identical twins.
So you obviously did this on purpose because you knew what the other was going to wear.
Well, we absolutely knew because we're bunking together in the same room, so we knew we were coming here. So.
Okay, now I'm assuming you started as twins first. When did you first realize the psychic aspect of it?
We were about 5 years old.
Yeah, I would say anywhere between 4 to 5. We thought everybody saw what we were seeing when we were very young.
Well, flesh that out for me. What were you seeing when you were very young?
Our father's, one of his brothers-in-law had married his oldest sister, and his name was Marvin. He was about 70 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
There's hope for me yet, getting married. And what happened?
Don't you know? Don't you know? Okay.
Okay. For other people.
I see. I see.
So we're not always on either.
Exactly.
So your psychic, it just kind of works like in my GPS system. Sometimes it gets me there. Sometimes it puts me in Secaucus, New Jersey.
So we had established a very good rapport with Marvin because we were the firstborn in the family. And twins is a novelty. So he was really
and men always are interested in twins. Trust me.
He was very wonderful. I mean, he didn't talk down to us. He would talk on our level, and we really appreciated that because our parents were involved with a farm, and they didn't have time for us.
And I know we were all taught, ladies, to look at everyone when we talk, but the person who's holding the microphone's off camera, so it's a little disconcerting. Just look at me. Okay. So, pretend you're madly in love with me. Make eye contact with me.
So what we found out was that after he passed rather suddenly, up in western Maryland, and we live near Annapolis, Maryland. And so what happened is that 2 weeks later on a Sunday, in broad daylight, just like this, I'd say around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, he came walking out from our playhouse with hemlock trees around it, just as solid as you, Rick, and spoke to both of us.
So he picked up a couple of pounds after he died, apparently. If he was just as solid as me.
He was as solid as you. Now, I went running up to him to hug him, but he held his hands out like this. He goes, no. He says, you can't hug me because I haven't been home yet. So, as it turns out, then he was relating to us that our parents didn't understand the ghosts and the animals as ghosts.
Because we would go home and talk about what we would see when we would come in for dinner time at night. And you know how parents will kind of like roll their eyes or look at each other like, oh, they're making all this up. Well, Marvin had us memorize like at least a couple sentences of things which we now no longer remember. I mean, we were just little. But it was something that our parents apparently knew about, that Marvin also knew. And he had us kind of like sing-song memorize it, so we would know it, and we ran back in. And he says, now go ahead and go back into the house and tell him. Meanwhile, he just goes right back into the bushes and just like vanishes.
So we hightailed to the house, and between the two of us, we managed to get it out, what he just told us. And
how did your parents react to this?
Well, like this.
Their eyes were
wide
wide
eyes. And that was when we found out then that here we thought they did this. No, we found out it was only us.
So did your parents become believers at that point?
Well, let's just say this, that when we were to go into first grade, because back in our county where we live, they didn't have kindergarten or pre-K. We were to go right into first grade, and our dad sat us down and said, now look, don't be talking about any of this kind of stuff to your teachers, to your friends.
Or they'll think you're crazy.
Exactly. So we didn't. We just got caught up. I call it like life gets in the way.
Yeah.
So how has that affected your lives from that point?
Well, I can tell you that at the age of 16, it came back for me. Mainly because
So there was a hiatus.
Yes, about a 10-year hiatus. And at the age of 16, one night I was at the Methodist youth group on a Sunday night. My sister stayed home ironing, right, school clothes. And
thanks for telling that, sis. Okay.
I started realizing
pacing.
She knew something was wrong.
I knew there was something wrong with her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pacing down, and I'm telling my dad and mom, I said, I know there's something wrong.
Now what happened?
Well, I dropped a girlfriend off in the opposite direction of our church, and then I had to come back across the church crossroads to come to our house. But just as I dropped the gal off, I saw in the windshield, once I was back out on the road, it was like a movie. I saw myself already at the church crossroads, and not only did I see it, I heard a voice in the back of my seat say, "You better slow down when you get there." So it was just like a movie playing out.
Okay.
And I also saw the car that I was about ready to hit. Well, you know how 16-year-olds mostly think that they're immortal. I thought, okay, this is going to happen. But as I got right into the intersection, it started to play out. I saw the dark red sedan come through a stop sign. I had the right of way, and I hit the brakes, and the brakes locked up because this is before anti-lock brakes. And I'm telling you, I mean, we're not Catholic, but I was saying Hail Marys, thinking that I was going to buy it.
Meanwhile, her car, they locked bumpers. Back then, they had those bumpers that were not like the bumpers now.
Yeah, I kissed the paint off the car.
They locked together and swung her around.
And
as long as you didn't kiss the paint off the bumper.
I kissed the paint off the side of that car. They kept going at 11:30 at night. They couldn't see my headlights.
So, obviously, this helped you survive this event.
Well, what happened was once the car managed to stop because the brakes finally held, I smashed my head into the windshield. And I was knocked out. I can't say how long I was out, but what I do know is that I had, I was like white-knuckled, and my head's on the wheel, and I hear myself say, but what we think, what we know as reality is totally different. Mm-hmm. And then I'm realizing I'm the only one in the car. And I was shaking so bad just from that, not from what I already saw, but because I'm talking to somebody. And managed to get the car to start up. And Adele met me at the door, and she saw I was absolutely as pale as a sheet. Wow.
Well, now, at this advanced stage in my life, I'm probably never, ever going to have a chance to be between two twins, much less psychic ones. So I'm going to ask our makeshift producer, Becky, here, to just hold the camera for me here. And if I may get a picture between you two ladies, that would be fabulous.
All right.
There we go. And there it is for posterity. Rick has been in the arms of two twins.